Hi, this is Marisa. I'm your home educator coach and founder of My Homeschool Roadmap. Both our children started community college when they were only in 8th grade, and it really worked out. They both wanted to go, and for different reasons, but it turned out to be better than we ever expected. And we gotta be honest with you, we were a little hesitant too at first, but they just did so well. They blossomed and they flourished and they gained more confidence. Just the whole community college experience has been amazing, so much so that our daughter was highlighted in a case study by the Goldwater Institute, showing how someone really young could do really well in a community college setting, especially when combined with an online high school that she was affiliated with. Because if there was a community college class that could not fulfill her high school requirement, she took an online class to fulfill that high school requirement. So she was covered on both ends, community college on one end and an online program on the other.
When you're in college, you're not going to have your teacher constantly prodding you to get this PowerPoint presentation done or next week's homework assignment finished. It's completely up to you. You can't procrastinate, and you really have to get things done and just be a real independent learner and organize, schedule things out, write things down, because basically your academic future is in your hands.
And then for our son, who's 16, early college just meant that it was his opportunity to be able to move ahead and have more time to be able to manage his 5 businesses. He has 3 of them online and 2 arcades and large shopping malls, and he knew that he needed time to be able to juggle all 5 businesses, and being in community college while earning high school credit gave him the time that he needed, because his classes were only a couple of days a week and an hour and a half at the most. So then he was able to go back home and really work on his businesses and what he loves.
Going to community college and homeschooling gives you time, and that's really what you need to realize what you want to do with your life and what excites you. And if you don't know, you have no idea what you want to be when you grow up, or if you have nothing that excites you, it gets there eventually. Some takes longer than others. Luckily, I was able to find that at a young age, but doing community college, it gives you a lot more time and freedom.
And he never took more than 3 classes at a time, and he really started out slow with 1 class each semester, and then he gradually increased that. And he even took online classes in the beginning when he really didn't feel comfortable attending community college at age 12. So I love all the flexibility too that early college gives you. If you're a parent of a teen, you know all the challenges that come with raising a teenager. There's so many changes that are happening in them, and maybe they're even struggling in school as a result. They just feel unchallenged or bored, or they feel awkward and don't ever feel like they fit in. And yet you know that they're capable if they were only challenged in the right way.
Going to community college, I was able to just excel and do whatever I wanted. I would just progress as I needed to. I didn't have to be held back by any class, and I just went at my own pace, and just that pace ended up being that I could go to community college.
So here you're struggling with their education on one end, and then struggling with just the changes that are happening in them socially, emotionally, physically, and intellectually. And you've just thrown your hands up in the air and thought, okay, well, this is just how it is. It doesn't have to be that way. And here's an option that may allow you to be able to transform all that, to make a change, because the old way of doing it just isn't working. And that's the early college option. That's when your student takes community college classes and has it also count for high school credit, so he can skip high school altogether.
I started taking community college classes when I was 14, and I did that for the last 4 years, and I got my associate's degree, and now I'm going to university at ASU in the fall.
I earn credits faster so I can graduate faster, and that way I can kind of focus on what I want to spend my time into, and that way I can kind of jump to the future more.
He's still getting a great education because he's in a community college setting, but then you don't have all that stuff, that high school stuff that goes along with it.
I think that's the number one thing I look down on, not having to deal with the high school drama with a bunch of like immature teenagers who were going through, like had a bunch of hormones and just like, oh, like who do you like, and just like all that drama. I didn't have to deal with that.
Or maybe even just the time wasters that happen in the classroom, and your student is just bored, feeling unchallenged, lacking purpose, or even direction. And he's just going through the same old motions day after day, getting up, going home, and you hardly even talk. Your lines of communication are almost non-existent. Now, one of the reasons might be because you seriously don't have time with him. Maybe another reason is your teen is wanting that independence. He wants less of you because he doesn't think he needs more of you. But you and I know we need to be there even more than ever. So this option gives you and your child a gift, and that's the gift of time. It's what we don't have enough of. It seems like our culture and everything around us is distracting us from everything that seems to really matter, like our relationships with our children. And here's an education option that allows us to take control of that time. That time normally spent in the classroom for 7 to 8 hours, we now get to decide along with our children in how we want to spend those hours. And that's what I love about the early college option. When you can enroll your child in a community college, have him take classes that count both as college credit as well as high school credit, and allows him to really move ahead fast. And in half the time, because he doesn't have to spend all day in school. One college class is normally 2 days a week, 1.5 hours each day. And then he's got the rest of the time for himself. And he can use that time to maybe go to work, or be able to discover a passion, or find a hobby, or just have the time to figure out what he wants to do with his life. And then it allows you to still be able to get involved in his life, to still be able to pour into him all those things that are important to you, like your faith or your values, or character training, life skills. And these teen years are pivotal years. These are years where we can really make an impact and a difference in our teen. But most of the time, we just don't have time, especially if we're working, and especially if your child's active in sports or school, we hardly have time to communicate. There could be days when you hardly even see each other, and you know deep down inside, this just doesn't seem right. There's gotta be a better way. I mean, he is still spending time in the classroom, getting a great education, but he just doesn't have to be there all day long, where he feels like most of the time he's wasting his time. So the early college option allows your child to spend more time at home, and maybe more time with you. You can be more purposeful in the way you spend time with your child. Maybe you can even get excited knowing that you'll have this time with your child. Yes, we know that the most important things in life take some commitment and hard work, but our children are worth it. Strengthening our relationship during those teen years is pivotal. That's something we all crave for. And yet, most of the time, there always seems to be this growing distance between our teens and us. And that doesn't have to be the case. So if you had an educational option that would allow you more time with your teen, would you take it? Would you consider it? And yet an opportunity for your teen to move ahead, to gain more confidence, to feel like he has more purpose, which would make him feel more motivated. What if it just gave you more time to keep the lines of communication open with your teen? And for you working parents out there, it's totally doable. You can set up carpools, or maybe you pay someone to take your teen to and from college. And then there's always public transportation. I mean, you have options. If you really want this to work, you have options. The reason I'm so passionate about this is I understand the importance of having a strong relationship with our children. You know, I was fortunate to homeschool our children since kindergarten. And right around 8th grade, I was starting to get worried. I mean, I really felt like I was not equipped to be able to continue to teach them, especially when it came to math, because I'm horrible in math. So I started looking for an option that would still allow me to keep them at home for the majority of the time. And in my eyes, it was like still being able to homeschool, but have someone else do the teaching. So when they both started community college in 8th grade, yes, we were nervous, but yet our kids seemed ready and they wanted to go. And we finally thought, you know what? We can try this, and if it doesn't work, there's always option B, which was either to teach them high school at home or maybe use an online high school, a virtual school. So we knew we had options. And what ended up happening is we not only chose the early college route where they took classes at community college, but we also took part in an online charter school, which allowed our kids to take high school classes online, especially if there were no community college classes that could fulfill some of those high school requirements. And better yet, it was free. But this took a lot of research on my part. I mean, I spent hours and hours on the phone trying to get everything right because I did not want to get this wrong. We're talking about high school here and community college and getting the credits just right. I didn't want them to be taking classes that they really didn't need. I wanted every class to count twice, but I knew that there was a strategy to it all. And I also knew it wasn't going to be that easy. Yes, I could have handed it over to a college counselor, but you know what? If you don't ask the right questions, and if you don't truly understand how it all works, it just did not give me peace. Now, you could certainly get the help of a college advisor to help you in choosing the classes, but I have heard some nightmare stories of students who've taken all these classes and spent all these years in community college only to find out that a lot of it didn't even count, or that they were doubling up on credit that they really didn't need. And that's simply because they didn't know how to ask the right questions to their advisor. So there was miscommunication, and as a result, there goes wasted time and money. When the parents get involved, this is less likely to happen because community college has a lot of moving parts. And it can get really complex because you're looking at 3 types of requirements, one for high school, the other one for community college, and the other one for your major at the university. So when a parent gets involved in their child's education, especially community college, there's less room for error. And to me, it's very rewarding being involved in those last years before your child goes to the university or leaves home. And it was actually quite rewarding to still be involved in their lives during those teen years. That was actually the true benefit for me. I helped them to apply for scholarships. I helped them to apply for universities and make sure their testing deadlines were met, like their SAT or their ACT. And they were still able to be involved in extracurricular activities like high school sports, their church activities, and even be able to work on top of that. But work at jobs that they really loved. And the early college option allowed them for more flexibility within their schedule. There was so much growth that took place during those early college years when they were going to community college. Being around a mature environment was actually something that my kids embraced.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a lot of drama problems or anything at college. I mean, you only see them for the couple hours you're there in class. I mean, there's nothing that happens that's too crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty low-key at community college, which is nice.
I came to America when I was 4 years old with my family, and my parents were immigrants from the Philippines, and I had a brother who was 4 years older than me. And all I remember in most of my childhood was really being alone a lot. My parents were working all the time. They were just in survival mode as foreign immigrants, and I get that, you know, and I never really questioned it or anything. My brother and I were just used to taking care of ourselves. We cooked, we cleaned, we took care of each other, and so we were left alone a lot. And so I didn't have a lot of memories with my parents, and when my parents passed away and my brother and I gave their eulogy, you know, Unfortunately, we didn't have many stories to share because we just didn't have a lot of fun when we were in our childhood years. And I remember me and my brother would often talk about it, say, hey, can you share with me some of the fun things that we did when we were young? And we hardly remembered anything. And so that was really important for me when I had kids, was being able to have memories, create memories, and to be able to have a really strong relationship with my children, because I didn't have that with my parents. And little did I know that homeschooling would help fill that void, would help really restore those memories that I did not have as a child. I was able to create them with my own children. And it's been an amazing journey, the most amazing journey I have ever had in my entire life. Just the fact that my daughter was highlighted in a case study that featured her as an example of what you can do when you combine online learning with community college, and using both resources together can make for a really winning combination. And there are so many resources and tools out there that allow us to be able to do this, that allow us to have more options when it comes to our children's education. I think in the next few years, we're going to see early college more as a norm rather than an exception. And for homeschoolers out there, the beauty of this option is it allows you to continue homeschooling, where you may not be the main instructor, but you're homeschooling in a sense where you're still able to teach them their values, character, life skills. They're still spending a majority of their time at home where you can have the major influence. And for those of you who are not homeschooling and are thinking of just pulling your child out of school and using the early college option, I applaud you. And it's probably a lot more scarier for you because you are pulling them out of school and it's the only thing you've ever known. So to all of a sudden make this course direction is huge for you. And I'm here to tell you, you can do this, and with me at your side, I will make sure you do it right, you're not missing any gaps, and that you and your child succeed. I love these education options that allow the parents to have more control over their children's education. I think it's important for parents to ultimately decide what is the best education choice for their child. And no, the early college option is not for every child, but it is an option for those children who want to move ahead, who want to feel challenged, who believe that being in a community college setting will give them that purpose and that motivation to continue their education. And for you as a parent, it means that you get to be involved. You get to take control because you'll have more time to be able to do that. Because they're not going to be in a classroom 7 to 8 hours a day. They're only going to be in a classroom maybe 1.5 hours a day or 3 hours at the most. The fact of the matter is, those 1,257 hours that an average child spends in school, you get to take back. You as a parent now get to choose what your child does with that 1,257 hours. And that's equivalent to almost 2 months where you no longer have an influence. And if you multiply that by 13, because that's how many years an average child goes to school, we're looking at more than 16,000 hours where your child is away from you, where your child does not have your influence. That's equivalent to about 2 years where you've relinquished control. So imagine if you had an option that would allow you to take those hours back, where now you have control over what's taught, and your child gets to decide how his hours of time are spent, whether it's to pursue his passion, to do extracurricular activities on his time, or just to be able to know that he has ownership of his time. What if you knew you had the power to take control over your child's education, to make every hour count, every class count, that no time is wasted any longer, that his time is spent wisely, that you'll have time for him to plan his goals, to set goals, to accomplish things he never had time for before? What would something like this be worth to you? Because I gotta tell you, there are a lot of moving parts to early college. You watched the last 3 videos, and that was just a glimpse of all the things that I teach. What if I gave you a step-by-step course? Everything you needed to know. What if I shared my screen with you and went through necessary forms, contracts that you need to be aware of, safety issues, socialization, scholarships, funding, how to choose just the right classes, how to connect with a college advisor, where to look to know high school state requirements, what questions to ask your college advisor, how to make sense of all the forms and documents that are presented to you, how to choose curriculum between their major, the community college offerings, and high school credits. Just how to make sense of it all. Well, I've given you that roadmap in this early college online course. I'm sharing with you everything I've learned in the last 15 years. I've shortened the learning curve for you. I've created shortcuts. I'm giving you updates on the latest education news that you need to know about. What if you knew you could be part of a program that could transform the way you do life with your team and transform the way your team does life by skipping all the high school drama and really getting to what counts? Really being able to focus on his future, on his goals, and give him the time to discover what he wants to do with his life, and yet still be able to have a great education with all the flexibility in schedule and with a lot more time. Okay, if you're ready to go on this amazing journey with me, if you are committed, I will make sure you succeed. You know, for $597, the price of 2 community college classes, or maybe 1 to 2 weeks of private school tuition, or maybe a month's worth of private tutoring, you get to learn everything there is about an option that will not only save you tons of money in the long run, but will remove the time wasters during high school, and an option that allows your student to move ahead and to find ways where it can all be free. You will have access to a program that changes your child and you for the better. And what if I put a 30-day money-back guarantee to it to show you how committed I am to making sure you are satisfied and that this works for you and your family? And if you are ready to get going, if you don't want to waste any more time and you really want to learn this, then I'm ready to help you. But here's the thing, I can only accept 50 participants. 50 very committed participants. And here's why. I have to close it at 50, otherwise I just can't teach effectively. I have to be able to answer everybody's questions, and I can't do that if I have a ton of people joining my call. And these calls could be teleseminars, which are over the phone, or they also could be webinars. It simply depends on what I'm teaching. I'm giving you a bonus with this program that's only available now. And that's only because this is my first launch and I want to make sure that I cover everything. So I'm going to give you, as a bonus, 4 weeks of coaching with myself. After you've gone through the program, we're going to cover every single module. There's 10 modules. Answer every single question to make sure that you know everything there is to know about early college before you begin. So every week we will cover 2 modules. So by the end of 4 weeks, we will have covered all 10 modules. We will have answered every single question. So you will have peace of mind knowing that you know everything there is to know about early college, that you're not missing any gaps. Because this is important. We're talking about college credits and high school credits and making sure they count. So as soon as registration opens, there's only going to be a small window when you will be able to register for this program. After that, I close it at midnight. And I may even close it earlier than that if I get 50 people right away. And so I have a surprise bonus as well. After the 4 weeks of training, you're going to have access to my coaching team. These are people that coach in the areas of parenting, marriage, finances, personal health and fitness, balancing work and home, and I even have a professional organizer. You will have access to these coaches that I personally know and trust after you're done with me. So we're not going to leave you alone. You're not going to feel isolated doing this. You're going to have people come alongside you to make sure you get this right. I will give you access to my coaching team for 6 months at a maximum of 1 hour per coach. So for almost 7 months, you will have access to real people throughout this program. So with all that coaching that's just been given to you, you've paid for that $597 plus some. So why give you access to a coaching team? A coaching team I wish I had when I was home with my children. Issues that start to emerge when you're home. And this isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing because it forces you to work on your wholeness that will make us more complete, more healthy, emotionally as well as physically. And I know it will help you in your journey. But that's how committed I am to making sure that you succeed, to make sure there are no missing gaps. You'll also have access to a Facebook page where like-minded parents can come together, united, and ask one another for help. Share ideas. Just be there for one another. That community is going to be extremely helpful as you move on in this amazing journey. So click the Buy Now button now. And once the registration closes, these bonuses, this price is all gone. And I don't know when a new class will actually begin, but it could take months. You're simply making an investment in you and your child. And the truth is, when we focus on something, things will improve. And with a coach by your side, things will improve exponentially. And I want to be that coach for you. You just can't afford not to try this. So don't wait a minute longer. Buy right now. And remember, been there, done it, and I know you can too.